Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is part 4B of the Little Golden Book series, but you are also going to find this video as well as part 4A under the napkin ideas playlist on my channel. I just wanted to have this in two places because of what we're doing. It's not specific to the Little Golden Book series that I'm doing. I'm more working with napkins, but it is part of that series because I'm including some of these with the Altered Little Golden Books that I'm creating. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I just wanted to show you kind of where I am. If you watched part 4A, toward the end of the video, you did see my toddler mannequin, who is my craft room companion, so I hope that made you smile or laugh. It doesn't have a name, so I am working on that. I do have a little hobo head on the top of it, and I don't know its name. It's just kind of my silly fun thing I'm doing. Anyway, whatever. Okay, I did move my cord, so hopefully that will resolve the issue with me hitting the camera. I do apologize for the last couple of videos. I'm sure that as a viewer, that's probably a little frustrating to see all that vibration on the screen. I apologize. Okay, so a couple things I did want to address. I mentioned in part 4A that I was using a damp baby wipe for the glue. Know that you don't have to use a damp baby wipe because the glues I'm using are water soluble, so you could use a damp paper towel, a damp cloth, whatever. You don't want it to be super soppy wet or saturated. It's just damp. It's just wiping off that excess glue. I did go to a smaller brush here for my matte gel, and it did work a little bit better for me. Although I just think that for that particular medium, I just need to probably look up some YouTube videos myself and find the best uses for it. I have watched a mixed media artist, and she uses a matte gel a lot. Maybe the ultra matte gel is just a little too thick, although the matte gel is the same. I think it's just a level of how much sheen it dries to. Having said that, let's continue. I do have this envelope that I did share at the end of the other video. If I'm too shadowed, please let me know. I have the overhead light on and another lamp because it's getting kind of dark. So please let me know if I'm too shadowed or if that bothers you as the viewer. I certainly don't want that to happen, and I can try to adjust my lighting accordingly if that's an issue for you. So this one I have sewn. Okay, I have glued a little bit of lace along the edge, and this is just some lace I think I found at Hobby Lobby, and so the pocket is done. I am undetermined if I want to embellish this further or not. I love the simplicity of it, and I just think that it's romantic to me. I really like this. I do know what I wanted to do with it. I apologize. I did say I was going to ink this one. So this is just my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo by Ranger, and the inking blending tool with just the foam edge on it. So what I'm going to do is just very quickly, many of you already know how to ink. I'm just trying to just demonstrate very quickly for those who may not know. I'm just dabbing my dauber in the ink and very gently going around this outside edge. Okay, so I'll finish this. I'll be back because I do want to show you something about inking. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to embellish it, but after inking that, I don't know. It just kind of calls for something here. So maybe I will look at my Modern Priscilla magazine maybe and find a vintage lady that's not super bulky like my Tim Holtz people. We'll see. But what I did want to show you about inking, I did not ink before I sewed. So if I just ink this, I'm going to get ink all over this back part, which I actually don't want that. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of scrap paper, just go along that edge like so. Okay, So that allows me to ink the edge that I want to ink, but it protects that back edge where I didn't want all of this mess on there, and I don't have to worry about it. So there's that. I'm going to set this aside because I want to think about this, and I don't have any images cut. I'll have to look at my magazines. This is the next one. So this is one I did after I turned off the camera, and I've left it alone. I have not cleaned up the edges. You can see they're still over the edge here. And so I can just pick that off if I want. Where it's glued, it's a little more difficult, but where there's no glue, it just comes right off. If it's a little too stubborn or you're worried about tearing your edge, again, just take your water and go along that. It helps pull it right off. Oh, one of the things I had in the note is you can just take a fine-tipped paintbrush, okay, dip it in your water and go along that. If you don't have one of these, same deal. You can go around your images. It will accomplish the same thing. So don't think you have to have the tools that I have. Just ask questions or say, hey, what can I use as a substitute? Because that's really important. It's very important that we use what we have, especially as we're learning and getting started. There are tools that I wish I had or things I wish I had in my stash to use, but I'm really trying to make myself think creatively outside the box and use what I have. So that's been a little interesting and very challenging. I'm having to dig deep, so it's been pretty fun. Okay, so there's that. One thing I did want to show you is when I was gluing, all of my edges didn't necessarily get glued down, and I'm okay with that because what I'm going to do is just kind of pick those edges off, right? Because I've overlapped my napkins there. So I'm just going to go along and I'm going to pick those edges off. So I'm not going to do all that on camera, but I will get that cleaned up. And on this particular napkin, I do think I am going to go over it with a sealer, but I haven't decided because I really like the texture. There's that one. Clearly I haven't sewn that. It's actually not quite a pocket yet. On the blue napkin, I ended up adding a flower in the middle here. I just felt like I didn't like it ended up being kind of a horseshoe shape. I didn't like it. I wanted more. So I added one here. I added a little bit more at the crease. I really wanted to protect that a little bit better in those folds. Again, the paper's brittle, so I'm really trying to take care of it. And on this particular one, because remember I did this the wrong way and the kitty cat's there. We don't want that. I just went ahead and put the white layer here. And it's not going to matter. What I wanted to do is just take my distress ink and very gently go over that and get rid of a lot of that white. And what that's going to do is still pull some of that vintage feel for us when we open this. Now the rest of that we're not going to see. I don't care. Okay. I have this folded differently. I better do the whole thing because I was messing with it. And now I have to rethink about this one. This blue one, for whatever reason, is really challenging me. I don't know what's going on. Do you ever get like that when you're working on a project and you're like, gosh, what was I thinking? And to be perfectly honest, I did that this morning. And now it is late afternoon and I can't remember what I was thinking. I need to keep a little notebook here for myself, I guess. And be like, hey, this is what you were thinking at the time. All right, so now I have given that a more vintage feel, gotten rid of that white. What I will do is I will just go around this edge. Actually, I will show you with the paintbrush. It's the same premise as using the water nib. So I know that the dollar stores, I was in Dollar Tree today, and they have paintbrushes and a whole set for like $1. So if you don't have paintbrushes or you're just getting started, go check out Dollar Tree. And if you hit just one Dollar Tree, and they don't necessarily have what you're looking for in the craft section, don't worry, go to the next Dollar Tree because they're all different. I purposely go to different ones. Like right now, I'm on the hunt for a particular book that my friends showed me that she found, and it's really it'll be a good Halloween book. But anyway, I'm on the hunt for it. And I went today and I didn't see it, so now I have to go to a different one and see if I can find it. Hopefully I can find it. But anyway, so easy peasy. See how fast that was? And then you just go along and you clean that up. Okay? So there's that. And then I really have to think about how I was folding that one. But I won't do that right now. This is the one that I had already sewn. Okay? This is the one I had already sewn. And so I decoupaged the finches. And I did go over this with the Ultra Matte gel. And I was hoping it would dry a little more crisp, but I can see that the Ultra Matte, it really kind of, in my opinion, dulled the image. Where I still think it's pretty, I still know it's there. And I know that when you decoupage, you lose some of the vividness and brightness sometimes. But I feel like it just has almost a whitish effect, but I'm kind of going for the vintage feel, so maybe that's not a bad thing. So I'm not going to be too bummed about it. Then on this side, I just added this little bird and this. Remember, I left that on purpose because I liked that edge. What I will do is dig in my bag of like curtains and tablecloths and things like that. Let's see what I can find to make a flap here. So I'm going to pause you, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I pulled the blue one back out because that's the one I'm really wanting to play with right now. And I did get it folded, figured out that yes, the big flowers I did intend to be my flap. And then I looked in my bag, and I have this curtain piece that I'm not sure if my friend sent me this one or if this is one I picked up at a yard sale. Doesn't matter. If you're faint of heart for me cutting into something like this, look away. I will tell you that I do have a hard time cutting into certain pieces. I treasure them because they're beautiful. But one thing that I have to remind myself is that I'm giving this curtain new life. If I had not bought this curtain, it would have either ended up in the trash or in the trash. So by me buying it and cutting it up and using it in the journals, it gives it new life, and somebody enjoys it in a different way than which it was originally intended. So I am going to cut and have this scalloped edge as an overlap, and what I think I'm going to use is a Velcro dot as a closure on this. In that way, this curtain will kind of offer a little bit of reinforcement for it. So I'm just in a thinking process. I'll be back once I've decided for sure and show you what I ended up deciding to do with it. Okay, I love it. I love it. It's sewn. I double stitched around here. I kind of like the little bit of the wonkiness of the double edging. I'm going to leave those strings for right now. I love this, and I actually don't think this needs very much more embellishing. Let's see. Okay, we'll just go across that a little bit. I'll add a little more ink, and these edges that are pulling up are just fine with me, actually. I will go around and get those taken care of, and I'll be back with the next one. Okay, so I'm never going to get done, but this is how I do pieces. So I cut her out, Okay, you guys saw that. She's out of the 1920 magazine. Here is some music sheet that I had. I used my Tim Holtz Victorian Velvet Distress Oxide for this little bit of doily. This is a vintage stamp from Finland that I added for a little bit of green contrast to pull in the green. The word beautiful came from a different ad on the same page as her. This is some French book page that my dear friend sent me. I hoard it. I love the foreign book pages. I love the font. It's beautiful. Any foreign language is beautiful when you see it in print or whatever. And I love to hear people speak it. Anyway, so that is her. So I think I'm actually going to call this one done. We'll see. I'll keep working and I will film as I go along. It takes me a while to think about collage, so that's why I didn't film the process. As I get better about it, or I'm not scrounging for so many pieces, I'll try to film some of that so you can see it. It's kind of intuitive and something that I'm still learning. But I'm definitely getting better at it. I'm better at seeing that, oh, that's got a spot that needs something, or I just need to balance it. It's just a learning thing. So, and I'm trying to keep these pieces flat. So regardless of where they end up, I want to make sure that they stay flat so that they can be used without adding too much bulk. So I hope you enjoy her. She's just gorgeous. I love her. And I will come back when I'm working on the next piece. Good morning. It is a couple days since I last filmed, and I just wanted to finish up this video. I didn't get in my room the last couple days to get these finished, so I just wanted to recap. This one is completed. Okay, so I did a little Velcro closure on this one, got that piece of curtain sewed on it. I did put a little bit of lace along that back edge where that was a little uneven where I cut it. So this one is finished and ready to go in a journal. This one is not finished. I just haven't decided what I want to put on this edge here. I don't know if I want something pink or yellow. Okay, but that's the finches. Then we have these cute little bluebirds here. Okay. I've sewn around the edges, did a little bit of inking. I may look and I may put maybe a label or a stamp on this side. I did find this perfectly coordinated button that I will sew on there, but that'll be hand sewing. Excuse me. And this one, I'm actually not going to machine stitch. I'm going to slow stitch it. I'm going to take my pokey tool, okay, and I'm going to just evenly go around the edges and take some embroidery floss, and I think I'll whip stitch around that because I'm thinking this one would be really pretty in the Doc McStuffins journal with the colors. And this is a mixed media live I did in my Facebook group because some of the gals had some questions about inks, distress inks, whatever. So I did a live and we did this together in the group. Okay, so this was started with just the white napkin layer. I did some stamping, some stenciling, inking, various inks, some distress inks, some archival ink, and I just love how this turned out. I love the end result of this. And then I just thought a nice touch would be to slow stitch. So I'll get that finished and it'll be in part 5 of the Little Golden Book series. I'll go ahead and show the completed envelope of that. The next video is going to be working on the binding of the Winnie the Pooh book. So I will get prepared for that, get my materials together, and then kind of walk you through how I prepare the cover for stitching in the signatures. So I do hope that you'll come back and join me for that video. I do thank you for the time that you have spent with me. If you're enjoying the process, enjoying the videos that I'm sharing with you, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave me a comment if there's something you'd like to see me do better, differently, something you would just like me to show you how to do. If I know how to do it, I'd be more than happy to share that with you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. Bye.